Welcome to the Occult Rejects. Today, in today's episode, we are joined by Veritas, and we have a couple of rejects as well. I'm going to go around the room and have everyone introduce themselves. We'll start off with the Headless Giant. Go ahead.
Hey, you can find me on X at the Headless Giant, and you can find my channel on YouTube under the Headless Giant podcast. And if you have any strange paranormal occult experiences, you can email me, and we will read them out on Thursdays. My email address is the Headless Giant Podcast at gmail.com. Thank you.
Thank you, Headless. And today, just to kind of give everybody a heads up, Nick has a little bit of a laryngitis, so we're gonna have skip over him just a little bit, but he is the main guy of the Occult Rejects.
Jules, you might have to speak a little bit louder, Lisa. I'm sorry.
Okay, sorry. Jules, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yes, ma'am. What's up, guys? I'm Jules from the Gray Pill Podcast. Been here before, so you probably know me. Yeah, thank y'all for having me back again, man. It's probably been a few weeks, I think, but see a few people here that I know already, so it's gonna be some good conversation like always. Gray Pill Pod on Twitter, everybody go follow me over there, and tune in to Sunday Chaos later, about 3 or 4 hours. This show should be over by then. So.
That's awesome. Thank you. And Rebirth, would you like to introduce yourself and let everybody know where people can find you?
Thank you. I appreciate you guys letting me be here again. Rebirthoftheword.com is basically where you can find me on everything. Wrote a book, bestseller on Journey Through the Origins of History. Could be bought on Amazon and just my website, and you'll find everything on there. I appreciate you guys for letting me join again.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us. And last but definitely not least, and this is going to be a very exciting episode to kind of join in the conversation, is the guys from the Veritas Roads. If you want to introduce yourselves and let everybody know where they can find you and what is going new with you guys and anything upcoming as well.
Yeah, I'm Carson. This is Murph. We started doing this about 7 years ago, I guess.
It's really been a year.
Yeah, it's been about a year. Yeah. It's been pretty shitty until about the past year. You can find us at the Veritas Road, wherever podcasts are sold, Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff. We just moved our studio, so we've been pretty much radio silent for about the past month. But we're trying to get some shit together for the next couple of months.
Yeah, so, we're just a couple white guys from Tennessee who think critically about the world, and kind of woke up to that this place was a lie in like 2019ish.
Yeah.
You guys are over by Tennessee? Wow.
Yes, sir.
You're down by me. I'm in right down here in Mississippi.
Oh, nice.
Okay. Yeah, man.
That's right, Dixieland.
South Tennessee.
Yeah. I was actually born in Nashville. So my dad's side lives in Nashville. My mom lives in Knoxville with my grandma right now.
Okay.
Love Tennessee.
It's not a bad
I did my whole military career at Fort Campbell, Kentucky, which most people know is right there on the border of Tennessee and Kentucky. Literally, you can be on one side or the other. Yeah, Clarksville, Tennessee. Yep, that's where I lived at.
Nice.
Very nice. Very nice. So I believe we're going to kind of open the panel or open the floor to discussion of current events and some topics as well that revolve around potentially medical, historic, current, modern, how they tie into today's current events, as well as the hot new topics that are going on around Twitter and the news and what forth. So please open the floor to what's going on in the news right now. And I believe it is the flip of what the Republicans kind of based their entire careers on. People got platforms, people got rich, people got fat off of one particular list in particular. And now all of a sudden it doesn't exist. Now all of a sudden it's fake.
I don't know what list you're talking about, Lisa.
I have no idea. You're right. Yeah, I have no idea. No, my memory escapes me.
This hypothetical list.
Yeah, exactly. But guys, any thoughts on the flippant trend going around Twitter lately?
I mean, it's just wild how that script flipped so quickly. I mean, you had influencers flashing around that binder for a couple of months, and
Yes.
now just by the way, there's no list. What are you talking about?
Yo, you had people posting that they had it with them,
Right.
and now it doesn't exist.
Just
That is
completely backwards and insane.
Yeah, I mean, we've had people in office tell us, well, yeah, it's right there on, right there on Pam Bondi's desk or whatever. And it's just doesn't surprise me, but it's still kind of bad at the same time. I don't know.
I think it's been the most
before.
it's been the most dramatic flip that I think we've seen thus far. I mean, like all of these other flips, he sort of plays into the idea that maybe he really wants peace when he's bombing Iran. Maybe he really wants peace when he's bombing Yemen. But this one, it couldn't be a clearer signal. We will not talk about this again, and you will not get any answers from us. We are not discussing it. So I think this is the biggest break, I think, from the campaign that we've seen thus far. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, to your point, they built an entire campaign around the idea of
Correct.
truth, of coming to terms with what was going on with the American public. How
Mhm.
ridiculous is it that that's the platform they they jumped off of to say, oh, by the way, there's no list. Oh, he didn't hang himself. Oh, none of this is going on. It's
Right.
incredible, and it just seems like the biggest flip of a coin I've seen in my conscious lifetime.
Yeah, what I find pretty incredible is how the Q people will still somehow think
Yep.
Trump is legit. There will be the Republicans still think he's the outside guy,
Alex
that he's
Jones
here to
was
stir up the
saying
system. When he just
that
does what they've always done. It's a classic bait and switch, like a magician does. When he's doing a trick, he does something over here while he's making the trick over here. So there's probably something that they're installing during all this while drumming up the Epstein nonsense.
To your point of the magician thing, didn't Marina Abramovich say that he was one of the greatest chaos magicians? I mean, he's just really walking right into that entire path. We had an entire movement come 2016, 2017 that pretty much is responsible for him getting into office. And I believe that movement based its entire platform on the said list that doesn't exist.
well, I believe that MAGA is now an entity of some sort.
It's an egregore.
So, yeah, I think people have
Yep.
worshipped it enough, and quite literally. It's crazy to me that people running cover for Trump, such as Alex Jones, right? Trying to be like, well, I think he's just hiding it from the globalists and the tricoms, and he's gonna come back around, and it's really gonna win at the end of the day. And it's just like, dude, fuck off, man. Like, no one believes you anymore, dude. I don't even think it's him.
Well, it sounds like
I
how
do
he
not
would
think
say
that's
it.
Alex Jones.
No,
It's
man, he
not
got
Bill Hicks
cloned.
or anything, but it's definitely not Alex Jones. I don't know.
He's the egregore of himself. Yeah.
Yo, you know what's crazy though? Think about the Q movement
Right.
and how much that was on this stuff.
Yeah.
Just another
That's
fed
what I'm
up.
talking about.
I'm
Well,
pretty sure.
There was a comprehensive survey of a lot of the IP addresses that were going on to 8chan and writing up a bunch of the Q posts, and they all came from Tel Aviv. So
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, this is our surprise face. Epstein was Mossad, so I don't know when to say that.
I mean, there was a guy that I saw. I forgot what special it was on, where he was swearing that the second QAnon was not the same person because he was able to find out where they were coming from. And they were like, "This is not the same one." Now, I don't think both of them are probably fucked up, but that's weird. That's interesting.
You know what's interesting, Nick? You said that I don't know if you remember. I followed you. I'll admit it.
Yeah, so
Just because I was curious and I was wondering where this was going. In that, when you first had it come online, I believe sometime in June. I'm sorry, sometime in July, it went offline. I don't know if it got broken into or whatever, and all of a sudden, R showed up. Remember, like some other whatever entity, whatever, and then they were doing that was the one that kind of was coming out hard with the JFK Jr. stuff and that he was real and he was in the crowd and what have you. And then it said, no, Q came back online and said, no, that isn't real. Somebody hacked it, blah, blah, blah. But it was around July. And wasn't that when Epstein got arrested? Or am I remembering that incorrectly?
It could
I
have
don't
been,
know.
but the one thing I do notice about the nature of these psyops is it goes back to this Thomas Matthew Crooks situation, where he fit every single checkbox of political extremism on both the left and the right at the same time. And so you've got the psyops within psyops where they're switching something up so that they have deniability from the deniability. And Epstein, I think, is a very similar situation. Like they're showing us videos now, right, which they said they didn't have originally, which show absolutely nothing. But within that, there's so many different options that people could go with just based off of this crappy evidence that now you've got a dozen other spin-offs of what's really happening in reality, because none of it really makes any sense.
Yeah. I think that was the first time he got arrested, wasn't it, Nick? July 2016. And then he got arrested again in 2019.
Both in July. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is interesting.
Well, speaking of that, I know like there's a couple of things we could talk about. I know the Veritas guys, you had stuff for, sorry. Lisa, can you go?
Yeah.
Do a
So
system
yes. So we were going to kind of pivot off of how Epstein's role kind of got kicked off by one female in particular. And we all know her as Ghislaine Maxwell. And Ghislaine had a very interesting childhood in that her father was, I don't know what you would call him, aside from megalomaniac, is that he pretty much spearheaded the scientific journal market the way it exists today. It did not exist the way it did today prior to him, but he was instrumental in spearheading all scientific journals and how they were developed, their inception, how they basically courted different scientists and professors and what have you to contribute journals, especially medical journals. And what he did was wine and dine them and tell them that they were going to be an editor and what have you. But yet none of the scientists, none of the authors that contribute to these journals get a single dime for what they write. In fact, the universities have to pay exorbitant amount of money to just have a subscription, a yearly subscription. And if you only get a yearly subscription, it costs more. So they want you to, be on the hook for like a 10-year subscription or something like that. But he was the one that pretty much spearheaded all that. And what Nick kind of wanted to do was tie in the Caduceus and Asclepius into all of this and how it does play in. And what's interesting, and I'll let you go. I mean, I'll open it up here in a bit. Is what's interesting is you have that Maxwell, I guess, connection, or kind of off to the side or what have you, and then you have Epstein, and we know him more for The List and The Island and the Lolita Express and what have you. But rarely is it talked about how much he courted scientists and all of his involvement in the medical industry and how much he was wanting to hybridize, make his own cell line, make his own race of people and what have you. So he was very instrumental in that whole aspect of science. And so when we look at that and we look at the healthcare system, we also look at the people that have funded Trump. And I have somewhat been a little vocal of the person who has funded Trump immensely in his first campaign, and then this one, and then the middle one as well that he didn't win. And he himself, Peter Thiel, has his tentacles as well into all of these medical type industries. And he did work with Epstein, even though nobody wants to really talk about that, he did. And so I kind of wanted to open the panel and kind of, do the tie-in at that point.
Well, it can't be really denied. He really wanted to get that new Operation Warp Speed, this, Stargate or whatever, up and online very first thing, first day. And so you tie that in with how much data they're rerouting into these, deal servers. It's not a pretty picture. They're trying to get sort of a genetic imprint of everybody in the country and have that match up with all of their other, tax data and everything else.
You know what?
Absolutely. And they were
Just
tracking everybody.
talking about the healthcare thing. When Trump did Warp Speed, who distributed COVID throughout the country for him? Peter Thiel's company.
Peter Thiel.
Deal.
That's fucking crazy. Didn't he even let people go to put him in the position to do that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I mean, this Palantir company is just like the worst of all these corporate megaliths rolled up into one, because now it is both the corporate oligopoly and an intelligence agency. It's the perfect deniability that they can use anytime they want to. Well, that's not up to us. They have a privacy statement. I mean, everything's been put into contractors because there's no way to FOIA any of their documents.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a tangent. But it's the same way with Elon Musk and these AI guys with Sam Altman. You sell data to the private side or whatever, and then there's no way to hold them accountable, even in their own paradigm. Same with the AI, same with health. I mean, they're doing that with everything.
Yeah, I mean, what better way to rob a populace of their self-agency is to like you were talking about with the journals. I mean, farm that shit out to scientists, right? Who are, quote, scientists, unquote, who are gonna, act as shills for whatever company they're contracted with, whatever, university they're working for. And then the people are just going to hand over that self-agency to whoever, writes in those journals, or to Palantir, or to, fucking Elon Musk and Sam Altman and all these nonsense corporations.
Yep.
It's a funny story about the Caduceus, though. So the Caduceus is not the seal for the medical industry. That's the seal for commerce and trade. It was switched over in the 1930s because some general thought that the caduceus looked better than the rod of Asclepius, so he wanted to put that on the patch instead of the rod of Asclepius. So he's using the commercial seal on the patch, and so they start putting it up on the sides of buildings. So now the place where you're supposed to be getting medicine is the place where you're getting scammed. And the seal itself on the outside of the building is telling that to you if you could decode the symbols. So ever since the 1930s, you've got this major Rockefeller takeover of medicine, and you see everything sort of veering in the direction of all medicine becoming a scam. Third leading cause of death is iatrogenic, which means that it was probably a doctor that killed you.
Yeah.
So, and if you look at the other two leading causes of death, those might be iatrogenic too. We just really haven't done the research to fully prove that we're not the ones causing heart disease.
No, I mean, you're 100% right. We for sure are the ones causing heart disease. I don't think there's any doubt about that. That's a 100% man-made disease. And I mean, sure, shit happens sometimes and people have, genetic issues, but that's absolutely the level of chronic disease that exists. It 100% self-inflicted. Yeah, for sure. And I've always heard the caduceus as connected to like thievery. And so, I mean, what a great example for going in and being robbed of your health, being robbed of your self-agency. Oh, a lovely symbol of commercial thievery. It's not a big deal. It's fine. It's fine. We're all fine. Yeah.
I mean, these are scientists, right? They're secular. They're non-biased. They're supposed to be rigid and logical. But they got pagan symbols all over everything they do. Every ambulance you ever ride in has either got a caduceus or Asclepius on it. So if these guys are so anti, Christian God, they've got pagan gods over every single folder that's in their filing cabinet.
Well, I don't think it ever actually changed. So when the first hospitals came out, they still carried the lore of Asclepius along with them. The very first hospitals, they were called Asclepians, and they practiced a form of meditative healing and sleep healing, which still gets used by highly effective people like what's his name, the sleeping prophet. Help me out.
Edgar Casey.
Edgar Casey, there we go. Edgar Casey used the exact same method as the Asclepian, and he was highly successful in diagnosing and treating patients. So there's something missing, but I don't think it's the part where people are getting better. You know,
Right.
That's-
Centralized. It's definitely, like the ultimate working on the comeback. With drug dealers, they give you the good stuff at the beginning, and then you have to keep coming back. And they give you just enough, and they need you to fill their coffers, and so they're not going to make you at all whole again, or try to, if that. So yeah, I think it's very, very centralized, so to speak. And I think I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, because I'm academic as well, that it's a very institutionalized thinking, and they do not reward anyone that thinks outside of the box. If the moment you do think outside of the box, it doesn't go well for you. And so by keeping everybody thinking along the same lines or in a centralized, institutionalized way, um, I don't know. I think that's what ends up happening when you create a culture that way, all the way from elementary school into graduate school, and nobody's thinking outside the box. No one's going to ask those questions either. So yeah,
think about Paracelsus. Paracelsus faced the same
correct,
thing in his day.
correct.
So there's always been that rigidity when it comes to medical science.
I was just going to say, y'all speaking my language when y'all was mentioning religion, because if you look at the serpents, what do they represent? A liar, a manipulator, a thief of some sort, a trickster even, right? You got the two serpents, right? So it multiplies more, right? You got liars in there, right? They lied. Supposedly, if you ate from the tree of knowledge, you would gain this certain knowledge that the gods had also. Well, the devil, the Satan, the serpent, this Lucifer that people, relate to, all in combining them as one, was the trickster, right? The adversary, something like that, basically.
Absolutely.
In terms of the rod of Asclepius, what it was a symbol of was the constant renewal. So the snake would shed its skin and come out brand new. So part of
Yep.
the ritual was to have people sleep on these cots inside the temple. This is where we get our term sleeping in from. And so they would have snakes that would be, released around the bottom of their cots to sort of stimulate that healing energy. And this was all done inside of like these crypts. So it was like going into the underworld to be revivified and then come back to the surface like the Golden Age. So they tried to model this around their mythology as well. So, and from all reports, the Asclepian had a really good track record of healing people. So it was intensely psychological, though.
Yeah, and it's wild if
Yep.
you look into that sort of thing. How much more prevalent that was 100 years ago. Before, you guys are probably familiar with like the Flexner report and the Rockefeller and Carnegie takeover of the medical industry, where they had this guy who never finished, his medical degree, and those are the people we're supposed to trust, right? Doctors who finished their medical degree. Well, he never fucking did. Yet he wrote a report that I think it was over like 155 medical schools, where they just said, "Oh, by the way, all you people practicing, what we now consider alternative medicine was mainstream medicine then, and we just decided, oh, all of you guys are hucksters now, just out of the blue." So yeah. Could not agree more.
The snake oil salesman thing. You know what I'm saying? Having the big old perfect voice to get people to buy your certain medicine that might have or might have not worked.
Yeah, I mean, the same thing happened with Ansel Keys in the 50s when Big Food got all excited about, making a whole hell of a lot more money. He popped in and did that, 7 countries, 7 nations study. And you have like the inversion of the food pyramid at that point and how fucked up that is. So, I mean, yeah, it's happened time and time again. And I it's not going to stop happening.
Yeah, no matter what you believe, breakfast is the most important meal. That's what they say. Even though you might be already up for 12 hours before that, and that might be your final meal for the day, but breakfast is the most important meal of the day, they say.
Exactly. Eat your sugar. It's good for you, right?
I'm even
Absolutely.
wondering if like the dollar sign is connected to the caduceus
It is.
somehow, like a snake
I think so.
and
It
with a
is.
line through it in the commercial aspect of it all. It's just amazing how they take over everything and they buy in, with our consent in quotation marks, through our intention.
I even
But think
wondered.
about
Go ahead.
Well, think about the reversal in the dollar sign as well. It's a single snake instead of that caduceus, which would be the double snake. So it's almost like both of them are inversions of each other.
Right.
And that's what they do. That's what the adversary does, inverts the natural order of things. Also the symbol RX, R with the little X, when you get on prescription. We did a little digging into that. And that's like a mathematical symbol in statistics that means reverse, and has its origins from retrograde, which is the apparent motions of the planets going backwards in the sky. So the idea of constantly coming back, constantly returning, constantly paying the money. It's literally written there on the pills they give you. They're telling you you're going to come back.
RX is also the typological form of the Eye of Horus. So that Eye of Horus symbol is that RX. And so, again, this goes way back to Egypt. All of these medical symbols are very, very ancient.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I never thought of that. It's kind of like an Ankh, but like a little bit of a 45 degree. I can see that.
Nick, what were you going to say?
Not to get into. There's too much to get into. I do think it's showing the eyeball again. The S.
With the hyaloid canal.
Look it up now.
Right? Yeah, they're thinking of, whenever the lens will bend in order to adjust for looking far away or looking close up, the hyaloid canal will either extend into a straight line or bend back into the form of an S. I would agree.
Yeah, two eyes. Ice is. I doubt that's it. But.
That reminds me of the goddess Thea, which is where we get our term theology from. So she was a goddess of the East along with Hyperion, and her eyes would give intrinsic value to metals and gemstones, right? And so she's giving intrinsic value with her attention. So that's where you get theology. So it's training our attention so that it's directed in the areas that they want it to go for that reason. So, theology is sort of like the training of attention.
Hey. Dollar sign.
Oh, yeah. Damn.
Oh, you're muted. Tyler.
Yeah, I didn't. I always come with sources, so I always try to look up, something that gives me an idea of what the representation of what you guys are talking about. And like you see it right here, the dollar sign. I mean, symbolism is one of the biggest things. They change it over time anyway.
Jeez.
Yeah. I knew that it was associated with the caduceus. I forgot what source I had a long time ago. They had said that the dollar sign was associated. But yeah.
So what's interesting about the caduceus is it's represented by the two snakes, but originally this was the herald's baton. So on the battlefield, the heralds would be out on the field giving reports back to the king. So everybody knew that you don't hit the guy with the herald's wand because he's making reports back and forth and he's not to be touched. So these guys are like the referees on the ancient battlefield.
He was the messenger, right?
Right. He was the
Kinda like
messenger.
Hermes with, Hermes carried the caduceus with him as well.
That's where he got the caduceus from, because he was the herald of Zeus. So Zeus changed the two white ribbons, holding up the white flag goes all the way back this far, changed the two white ribbons into snakes. And so as he's carrying this, he can't be touched by anybody. He's faster than everything. And, all the rest of the qualities of Hermes. But it also has a lot to do with internal energy systems as well. So you get this spiral shape, which is in pretty much everything. And the eye on the top of it, that's sort of like a Baal symbol or the symbol for the sun. So it's almost talking about kind of 0 point energy.
I wonder how many dentists know this right here. Next time you go to your dentist, quiz them.
Maybe surprised.
Yeah. You almost hope they don't.
Yeah.
Because what other kind of weird stuff would they be into,
Yeah, right.
It's like,
What's funny is that they have the triangle, which usually in chemistry means change, um, and or yeah, kind of like a change into something else. And then y'all brought up retrograde. I looked it up really quickly, and it you know exactly what you said. It is something that is meant to go backward, and or resume back to some sort of state, and not a good state. And so that's interesting. RX versus the retrograde and its meaning. That's pretty
Yeah, like
interesting.
the planets, the 5 observable planets with the naked eye, they appear to retrograde to us. And what does
Correct.
planet mean? It's a Greek word for planetos, which means deviator. And God
Mhm.
reserves them for judgment. They're wandering from their paths.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, not to say something that's too terribly obvious, but that seems to be the basis for the majority of allopathic medicine. Now, if you break your leg, that's one thing, but for the most part, it's just an expedient way to get back to being still kind of shitty again, not getting better,
Yep.
not becoming anything better than you were before, just
Right.
steadily regressing. I mean, yeah.
And I think we have the Knights of Malta to thank for that. So if everybody could find a Knight of Malta and thank them personally, that would be really helpful.
That's awesome.
Aren't they connected
Probably
with a lot of hospitals?
Bohemian Grove meeting at
Also
Bohemian
called the
Grove.
Knights Hospitalier. Yeah. And so they go back like over
Yeah.
800 years. And these guys were the offshoots of the Knights Templar. And so, everywhere they went, they got kicked out of a lot of places too. So the Knights of Malta do not have a good track record as well. And, they have international immunity, right? So that means
Yeah.
that they're considered to be above the law anywhere they go. They've got diplomatic immunity. So,
Yeah, and if we're going to talk about Trump, I mean, you got a lot of Knights of Malta that are backing him. You got Pete
I was
Hegseth,
just
he's a
gonna say
Knight of
that.
Malta. Because that's not a Templar cross, that's a Knights of Malta cross. Order of St. John and all that. Shout out William Ramsey. Yeah, so people, I mean, it's still the Jews, right? Like, it's still these Talmudic rabbis and,
Yep.
the Hasidic rabbis. But it's not completely that. It's both sides. They want you to look over here while it's happening. But they.
Candace is hinting that the Sabbatean Frankists got into pharmaceutical work after joining the Catholic Church. So this is where you get IG Farben and all the rest of these big pharmaceutical conglomerates that came over here and became Bayer Pharmaceuticals and all the rest of these merchants of death.
And what does the word pharma come from again?
Pharmakia,
Sorcery.
illusion.
Yeah.
Sorcery.
Yeah, man.
Even the names of these companies, AstraZeneca, that's like you fragment that down in Latin, it means a road to death. Pfizer, if you reverse that, is some kind of Hebrew word that means death. They're
Wow.
just
Yep.
telling us in plain sight all over the place. There's a bunch more examples. Those are the first two I thought of off the
Mhm.
top of my head.
Who also got a citizen or tried to apply for citizenship to Malta?
Dual
Peter
citizenship?
Thiel. Peter
From
Thiel did.
Trump? Oh, Peter
Thank you.
Thiel. Well,
Whoa. Let's
he's
not
the
tell them.
steering member that heads the Bilderberg Group as well. So anybody wants to call bullshit on the whole globalist thing, as soon as Peter Thiel gets involved, he's running the Bilderberg Group. So how do you call him not a globalist at that point?
Yeah. Yeah.
Such a wicked guy.
Christian
So do you
gay?
so do you think that, and just out of curiosity, you think that the MAGA base or the
Oh, no.
Republican base are going to tolerate this, or that you think they're gonna hook, line, and sinker? You think they're gonna march right
I think it's
along?
over.
I don't think they're going to do anything. You hear me now?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, we
still a
got
little
you.
low.
How's it low? Hold on.
And I think I
What
even have
about now?
a little better.
Is
Yep.
Are you sure?
Yeah, it's better. It's better on my side. Yeah.
You guys are gonna make me. I don't want to do it too loud, and it just
That's perfect.
Okay. Make sure y'all can hear me.
What did you ask, Lisa?
No, just what y'all thought about the MAGA Republican base if they were gonna, march to the beat of this whole no list. And the reason I ask is I think Nick and I have had this discussion multiple times. Is that in my lifetime it's been weird to see the flipping. When I grew up, I remember clearly liberals being the hippies. They were the ones at these festivals that were anti-vax. They were the ones that were anti-Agent Orange. They came back from Vietnam and talked about how the government poisoned them and how we should be organic, barefooted in our front yards and what have you. And yet they were the first ones in line to get jabbed. And then now we have this whole, deaths of pedophiles. And then I'm just wondering if we're going to see the same flipping.
It's the first generation raised solely on television. So I think you're going to get a little bit of different results from those boomers. They just seem to be right in line with whatever the TV tells them to do.
I mean, if they're trying to retire, they're already gonna probably die in 20 years. They don't really care. If you want my opinion, I think they just want to be comfortable. And,
Yeah, I mean, I think we're seeing. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. Cut me off whenever you need to.
No, go ahead, man.
No, it's fine. I just throwing that out there.
Yeah. I think we're seeing like a generational split as well there. You've got the boomers who are just doing whatever the TV tells them to do, but then you have just a couple of generations of people underneath them that are just so beaten down that they've stopped giving a fuck. So it's not a matter of doing what the TV tells them to do. It's a matter of not doing anything, just complying at the end of the day. Be it, the flip with the hippies doing exactly what they're told to do, which, I mean, that was the first thing I noticed in 2020. All of these people you would have thought would have been on board with, not being injected with who the fuck knows what, were the first to show up at a clinic.
It's the same with the punk rock scene.
Yeah.
Same thing there.
One of the hardest things with the whole MAGA stuff is they've created such a false dichotomy where if you're not in these people's minds, if you're not MAGA, well then you're a blue-haired hippie from Seattle screaming about Z and Zer,
or you're the woke right.
Right. They have made no middle ground of rationalism, and Trump's so charismatic that he can pull up all the people who still profess common sense. He's a perfect Trojan horse. And he sprinkles in just a little bit of truth, in 2016, talking about ending the Fed, that kind of stuff.
Well, that brings up the topic of the egregore of MAGA. So who's in control of this egregore? Because I don't think Trump has the reins anymore. It's pretty obvious he's on the defensive most of the time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
what's he on the defensive from? There's a bigger force.
MAGA is the highest degree in the Church of Satan.
I mean, that's the MAGIS. Yeah. It's or the mage or whatever. I mean, maybe he still has control of it. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe Barron has control of it now.
Maybe. I mean, I don't think there's anybody in the administration that they can look up to and say, this guy was being honest with me the whole time. Because it seems like as soon as they got in there, it was just nonstop lies.
Well, I think also, I mean, we have to give a little bit of credence and credit to Cambridge Analytica, in that, who was also funded by Peter Thiel, that Cambridge Analytica mined most of social media for the things that people were saying, and then fed them to the campaign, and that's where I think Trump got most of the whole, he's saying what we have been saying all along. No, it was an algorithm that mined for what was most commonly being said, and they just placed it in his script, and he said it on a mic. And that's probably majority of the memes and what have you. And I think that we also have to kind of credit that was the inception of MAGA, was Cambridge, trying to find out what it was being said through social media, and then forming this golem and breathing life into it, and then marching it down for what the purpose was intended for.
Lisa, I think on some level, everybody kind of knew that the border had to be taken care of, because nobody was talking about that at all. And he was the first guy to pick that up and really go hard on that issue. And it had been decades. So in a lot of ways, I think he was just the only one to pick up something that was laying there for anybody to use, but nobody wanted to because it was such a third rail. So, at that
I
point, I think that's when things started to fall apart big time for the establishment because they had plans that we weren't included in at all that seemed to be messed up a little bit on that immigration end.
I think it was serving the purpose it needed to serve.
But
No one's going to go ahead. Sorry, Nick. Go.
I just want to say this real quick. I even thought the immigration is a whole other flip flop because Obama actually went hard.
Yeah.
That wasn't too long.
He was throwing the kids in
And
cages.
then when Trump does it after him, he gets shit on. Literally almost the same words they have both said. I actually consider that a flip flop because I don't think it was that long ago if it was Obama.
I think the border has been a long-term agenda goal for the globalists to use as a testing ground, right? They've got a lot of technology that they want to try and work out on the border while at the same time not actually providing any extra security. So it's just a big boondoggle, And you could see a lot of that coming out in the Trump administration, but there's so many different contractor companies that now have all these expensive widgets that they want to sell to people on the border that this thing is, it's going to be another horrible government mess. But I think that's one of the purposes of having this crossover is because all of these technologies are going to eventually make their way into our everyday lives. They're not going to stop at the border. That's just going to be a constant march closer and closer to where you live, body scanners, all the rest of this stuff.
Yeah, roll out for tech and shit.
Right.
And I
will
think
say, I will say that the border thing is kind of like the abortion issue. It's kind of like the healthcare issue. It's never going to be solved. It is a hot topic and it needs to stay that way in order for us to have a debate, for us in order to have a football team of red versus blue. That's never going to be solved, I think, in my opinion. However, living in Texas and on the border, there has been, I would say, maybe 7 generations of people that are not ever going to sell their land. They also have mineral rights. They have been here for 7 generations. It has been flags that move over the people, not the people predominantly. And I know for a fact that many families have been in litigations for decades because they want that property. And when you look at that property, it is probably one of the largest natural gas reserves in the world. It also feeds Mexico and it feeds us. And if you don't have families that want to sell, what do you do?
State of emergency, steal it.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's been a big thing when it comes to major changes in American history and the nature of the jobs of the leaders in charge. So whenever you've got a real estate developer in charge, it probably means he's going to be making a bundle off of, selling land right out from under people,
Absolutely.
George Washington did the same thing.
Yeah.
He was a real estate
the Enron
developer. He was
scandal
snatching
happened
that
down
land.
here. Yeah.
Look at what they're doing with the natural disasters too. You got Helene coming into North Carolina, and then they're buying up all that land, mining it, making it smart cities. Same thing in Maui. Look
Yeah, I was going to say same thing. Why?
Bet all the money I have is flooding in Texas. Feds or these
Dude.
huge conglomerate are going to come in and buy a ton of that land.
That's
Mine the
what
crap
that's what
out of
Nick
it.
and I were talking about. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of those families, they're Pole Czech German that came in around the 1800s, and they've held on to that land for decades.
I was
For
going to say it's
hundreds
a
of
lot of
years
rural
now.
white communities, and
They're
that's
not
just the truth
selling.
of it. I think that these
Mhm.
communities are being targeted.
They are 100%
Yeah.
because most of the big tech companies are setting up their cryptocurrency farm areas, and they need the water to cool their servers. People are not wanting, if anything, Kerrville actually got the lithium storage facility banned from ever building there. And yet, where was majority of the flooding? Kerrville. That's interesting. Some of the Bill Gates servers are just south of that. You have a lot of farmers and ranchers and people protesting that they don't want these cryptocurrency farms around their area because now you're going to have to fight for water. And this is the area where now you have the problems with flooding.
It's
Somebody
like
in
this.
the comments says, "Do you see?" They're referring to the Mountain Dew. What was it? The
Maui
Uh,
burst.
Maui Burst. Yeah, yeah.
Yep, yep.
Biden had the tweet. We're laser focused on helping the victims. Just insulting them. Revelation of the myth.
Right, dude. Straight up, man.
And if I may, one more time interject, I apologize. That the cloud seeding company that had initially denied seeding clouds on July 2nd was also funded by Peter Thiel.
Oh, you
Wait,
don't
did you-
say.
Did you hear the excuse that they gave? They said, "Oh, it was like only two or three Skittles worth." It's like, Skittles. What are you talking about? Is that a measurement? I think they're trying to evoke the symbolism of tasting the rainbow. It's like,
Yeah, I
You
think
went
they're
with
trying to
Skittles
tell
over
us that they're
pellets, or-
gay. I don't know.
well, you saw the guy's mullet,
Yes.
right? That was a wicked mullet.
Yeah, that was pretty sick.
Just paint your roofs blue.
Right?
Mm-hmm. No, that I would agree. But yeah, it's just over and over and over again.
Did
It's
y'all
just-
see the video of like they found those girls or whatever? And it's like I don't know, aren't they still saying that there's some missing, or did they find them all?
I don't think that they have found them all. I
Okay.
do know that they have recovered about over 100 people.
I was gonna say that they're saying
bodies.
that there's still some missing, but apparently I found a video somewhere and it shows that shows these girls that they're saying that are missing in the back of this truck, like smiling. It's like very fast and very like it happens in like 5 seconds. This person is passing them, but apparently they've been rescued already. So
Okay. Well, I hope
let's see
so.
if I can find that video. Maybe we can watch it.
I saw one that was from like 1983. They had flash flooding in the exact same area, and there were kids at a camp that almost got washed away at the same sort of junction. And they got onto the buses in time, but the whole place was washed away. So I guess this place is really a hot
Yes.
floodplain.
Yes, all of the hill country, because it's an ancient limestone-based coral reef that used to be under the ocean. You could dig down, and you're going to hit coral reef. And the way it acts is that when it rains, it acts like a natural aquifer. And so you're supposed to have these natural grasses that have really long root stems, and they filter the water into the porous limestone, and the limestone itself down into the soil acts like an aquifer, and it feeds all the natural springs and what have you. But this area does experience flash flooding every single year, all the time, sometimes more, sometimes less, and what have you. But what has happened is the over urbanization of certain areas where they have eliminated all of the natural vegetation and just put concrete all over. Well, the water has nowhere to go. So of course you're going to have even more extreme flooding. And it's happened in Austin, it's happened in surrounding areas because everybody wants to live in the area, and you're seeing more and more exaggeration of these floodings. But that's not to say that cloud seeding didn't have a contribution to it. I think it did.
The area where I lived in Oak Hill, just south of Austin, had these huge drainage ditches that were like 3 or 4 football fields wide. Because if there was any kind of rain collection whatsoever, they had to have a place to store all of that runoff, because it was incredibly prone to fast moving water that rises very quickly.
I guess I don't have the video. I don't know. I was wrong.
Also about cloud seeding. Remember, I don't know if y'all are familiar with, remember Harvey hit Texas back in the day? I don't know, I think it was
Yeah, 2018.
2019 maybe. But anyway, the hurricane came in, and there was a couple of articles that really did make a huge, main, I guess, whatever, but there were blips here and there. But there had been cloud seeding happening in West Texas. And I think what had happened is it got swooped up into that vortex of the hurricane and exaggerated the hurricane. So they're making a case, at least in Texas, that they're trying to outlaw cloud seeding, or at least to be more stringent about it. But you can find flight manifestos or flight manifests, right? Flight manifests when these things do happen. So I
Yeah,
don't
we
know.
did it. We did an episode on weather modification. You know, with Project Cumulus, they've openly been doing this stuff. You can look it up on Wikipedia since like the 1960s. They've been doing it in Britain. Britain had one, and
Hmm.
they just tell you, and no one cares. It's just crazy. I mean, they had the hurricane that they, brought up on 9/11 to give energy to that, and then they steered it away from that. I don't know if y'all have looked into that.
No.
Oh, what's the book called? John Judy Woods or whatever. But they openly admit they can do this stuff, and it's just blatantly plastered everywhere. In my opinion, all the money we give HARP and DARPA, who knows what these Doppler radars are actually doing?
In y'all's project, I mean deep dive, did y'all see any patents or anything like that they had for it?
Yeah, we cover. Well,
I think you took a look at one.
yeah,
Yeah.
we covered one. I don't remember off the top of my head what it was.
I think it was just pretty straightforward, just like maybe microwave weather modification patent,
Yeah.
if I remember
But
correctly.
it was the one that they could steer hurricanes with.
Yep, that's what it was.
They admit that they could, and they claim it's to try to weaken the hurricane. But if you can weaken it, you could, in theory, strengthen it. And it actually, it was some hurricane in Georgia where the people in Georgia like sued the government for
Yeah.
steering it into them. I'm doing a bad job recalling the details.
No, that's
Well,
exactly.
this
I
is
can't remember the name of the hurricane, but that's yeah.
this is from the sulfur dioxide spraying in England. In recent developments related to sulfur dioxide in England, a high altitude weather balloon experiment released a small amount of sulfur dioxide into the stratosphere in September 2022 as part of a solar geoengineering test flight in Buckinghamshire, England. This experiment, led by Andrew Lockey and European Astrotech, aimed to evaluate the low-cost controllable balloon systems. So they want to control the sunlight in a place that barely gets any sunlight at all. And they're doing experiments with upper atmospheric spraying to try and get there, which is so retarded.
Oh yeah, if chemtrails are such a conspiracy theory, why did our beloved governor in Tennessee just ban them? That just happened like last year. They signed a bill into law. It has no teeth, but if it's
I
fake,
thought Florida did something like that too.
There have
If I'm
been a
not
bunch of
mistaken.
FAA reports right now being filed. All throughout the time when he signed it, you had a bunch of activists collecting the reports showing, hey, this guy's chemtrailing, this guy's chemtrailing. So they get to investigate those aircraft now, which I think is going to be a very positive step. They're going to have to at least get them out of the state.
So
You know,
what are the repercussions for like in Tennessee for the chemtrailing? Like what was the bill?
like in
indicate
my
what?
opinion, it's just a proclamation that has absolutely no power. They're just like, hey, don't do
Gotcha.
this here. But what are they going to do? Tennessee doesn't have fighter jets to go scramble in the air. I just think it's more of a ceremonial thing. But in my mind, it is at least acknowledging that this is going on. Hopefully, bring some attention to it. Maybe there's some kind of nefarious.
There was one lady. There was one lady in Nevada who was actually tracking these chemtrail pilots using the FAA's flight recording, and she actually tracked them down to where they landed. She went there and confronted the pilots and said, "What are you spraying on top of us? I demand to know." So people are looking in and actually getting really close to this stuff, and they know this is what's happening. Obviously, they're not going to admit it, but she's actually found the people responsible. So if that's the trend that keeps up, I don't see how they can continue. At the very least, they'll be exposed to everybody who's spraying poison on people.
Yeah, that's why I brought up this article. Well, I mean, most of us already know about Operation Popeye, what they did in Vietnam. They used weather modification to try to defeat the enemy in certain locations. So they know they've been doing this for a while, and it's not really hard for them to say, hey, we want to move a certain group of people out of this location. Let's modify the weather over here for a couple of years, make them migrate somewhere over there. We go and take them by their land when they're at the lowest point, and we build up our luxuries from that point on and take advantage. It's a money game.
Yep.
Absolutely,
Speaking of-
according to some of the ritualistic nature of it as well. I think I heard somebody, I can't remember, I could be wrong about this, but I think it's like barium and aluminum that they'll spray relatively often. I don't know if that's supposed to be a reflective chemical or one to seed, but either way, it spells out bale pretty obviously.
Yeah, in the periodic table,
Yeah.
the element names. Yeah, I've seen that.
I was going to ask, what is the pulse in Tennessee with big tech moving over there?
The locals hate it, but I mean, we've had such an influx from other areas that the the people you would think of as like stereotypical Tennesseans, right, with like two teeth who sleep with their cousins, those people aren't a fan. But the folks we have from like, you know, California, we have a ton of Californians here, people from New York. We're typically moving from larger cities. These aren't salt of the earth type folks. They're, you know, people who have a little bit of cash and move here because it's a quaint southern town where they can fucking live in a Hallmark movie. They love it. They absolutely love it.
Yeah, you know, and
Nick,
they buy into the whole, oh, it's creating jobs, it's good for us, all this stuff. They
Yeah.
just built a huge like lithium ion battery plant in the northern part of this county, and then they're already squabbling with GM over who, you know, it's already going to crap, and it ain't even open yet. So
Right.
Yep.
it's just a
It's
cluster.
it's interesting because I think a lot we got a bunch of in Austin, the Californians during the pandemic, and then all of a sudden it was like it's too hot here, and the next thing you know, Tennessee was in their sights, and I was like, God bless Tennessee because this has been a shit show.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's been something. And the climate, so we live in a what was, well, it still is for most people, a pretty small town, but it used to be like the stereotypical small, sweet southern town. We have fucking Mule Day, for goodness sake. And so that's what it used to be. And now the climate of the area, like you're saying, has totally shifted. And it's all about social progress now. It's all about bringing
Yes.
money into the area, which sounds nice in theory,
Right.
but it ends up leaving you fucked.
Yeah, Amazon
Yeah.
coming to Nashville, all these gigantic Elon's coming to Memphis. I mean, they're just feeding in. They're just moving the debt bubble, you know, from the liberal hellholes of California, inner city of like Milwaukee, Chicago. They're just moving it to more rural places. I'm sure Mississippi will be on the docket in 10 years, you know, Mississippi, Arkansas.
Yeah.
They're just
Yeah.
moving it down.
I heard Oracle's moving out there. They had set up base in Austin, and then I believe last year sometime they said that they had opened headquarters up in Nashville.
And Nashville's just freaking crazy. I can't even drive up there anymore. It's so bad traffic.
Yeah.
let me ask you guys this. Do you believe that there is a competency crisis, or is there a different thing driving what we're seeing right now on all levels of government and corporate culture?
Oh, I think the idea that it's just incompetency that died for me a long time ago. I think they're too organized. The timeline lasts longer than human lifetimes. I think is organized, and it comes from these occulted people at the top. You know, I mean they've got the secret societies. Like let's just take the FDA, whoever the head of the FDA is, right? He reports to the president, right? The president reports to everybody. Everybody's boss has a boss. And at the end of the line, somebody's boss is a Freemason, or somebody's boss is a Rosicrucian, or somebody's boss has done some kind of crap in a coffin that you hear Alex Jones talk about. And who knows who these guys really worship? You know, I've tried to read about 400 pages of morals and dogma, and they just claim how great they are, but everything's Kabbalistic, and everything has dualistic meanings. And what they're really worshiping is entities that are not like us. They're not man. Okay, whether that be giants, the Nephilim of old, whether that means some kind of angel. But I think it's far past incompetence, and it's organized.
Agreed.
Well, you couldn't make it this long without being organized. So they definitely are organized.
Exactly.
That's definitely what it is, because they know how to manipulate the system to fit them the best.
Yeah, and they've been grooming Trump for this purpose for forever. I don't know if y'all have seen his Sealy mattress commercial. Y'all seen that? It's from like 2005. Trump is in this mattress commercial with a bunch of sheep. All right, and it's in this hotel because Trump's the hotel guy. And he's going down, knocking on doors, and the logo for the Sealy mattress is their mascot's like a sheep. And he knocks on one, it's the sheep number 9. And they talk a little bit, and they skip number 10, knocks on the next one, it's sheep number 11. Well, Trump 45, he's 9. 47, he's 11. And Trump's also associated with the 88, with his name. And that represents infinity, the first and the last, the Alpha and the Omega. He's the last president, I think. Like, he's this standing in for this. We all hear about this Pisces to Aquarius, or is it Aquarius to Pisces? This changing of whatever age we're in, and he's the Julius Caesar to change from the Republic to the Empire, in my opinion.
That it was with sheep. That it was with. Okay, yeah, I got it up right here.
Yeah, y'all need to watch. If y'all haven't seen this commercial, it's pretty
yeah,
crazy.
I got it right here. If you guys want to see it, I'm not gonna turn on the audio, but yeah, I got it right here. We can play it in the background if you want.
Yeah, that's it.
There it is. Just to your point about competency too, I use Corona and all the shit that happened with that as an example all the time with like normies. But you would imagine in like if the world, if the systems that folks say are real are actually real, all the lockdowns, all the bullshit would have happened at varying times, at wildly varying levels, right? And at least as far as I could tell, the whole fucking world was in lockstep all at once. I mean, tell me there's not, a single entity guiding that. It's not possible. There's got to be someone at the top calling those shots. It can't be. I don't think there's any way that whoever's doing that is incompetent. They know exactly what the fuck they're doing.
Well, there were a couple of African nations that decided that they weren't going to comply, and their leaders ended up dead. So I guess that was the big test, which ones do we own? Everybody but like 2 in Africa.
Yeah, that makes you wonder what's going on with Iran. Are they somehow independent of this system? And they're still out of line.
It's all theater because they warned us when they hit our bases back. So basically, it's all theater. They're all playing a role.
Speaking of Trump and kind of priming it, I can't remember what nightly talk show it was, but I do remember John F. Kennedy Jr. sitting in a chair at a nightly talk show, and they're asking him about a potential political run. And this was before he even thought about it. I think he was still dating Daryl Hannah. I don't know, maybe. But it was before all of that, right? And when they asked him if he was considering it, he clearly stated, he goes, you should ask Donald Trump. And I don't remember what show that was, but I very clearly remember that. And so they kind of already had it in their sights, I think.
Yeah, and just the idea that he's even an outsider, his uncle, I don't know if y'all looked into his uncle, the MIT professor, took over all of Nikola Tesla's crap, was involved with the FBI. He's no outsider. He's just a lot more charismatic. He's a lot funnier than George Bush, but he's George Bush,
Yeah. Yeah. He's a New York version of George Bush.
That's right.
It doesn't matter who you vote for. You always end up with John McCain.
Oh, my God. Yeah, that was some shady stuff with his uncle and Nikola. He kept all of the books, and somehow he went on to invent certain things and get patents after he acquired some of the notebooks.
2 of the trunks are still missing. Nobody's even talking about them. 2 of the trunks are gone. Oh, well, who cares? It's been, 100 years? Who cares? Give me a break. They're so careful with everything else, but the most important stuff that everybody wants to see, they're the most not careful with it. Give me a break.
His death rate.
Right.
Yeah, and I think there's been some sacrifices in Trump's life, too, to get to this point. Like, the death of his brother, his second wife just died. He's made deals, in my opinion, of course.
Oh, speaking of Ivana Trump, right? That was not Ivanka. It's Ivanka.
Yeah,
right?
I think
I can't remember which one's
Ivana.
the
daughter
mom.
is Ivanka.
The daughter.
Okay, Ivana.
Yeah.
Ivana was introduced to Trump by Robert Maxwell.
Very
Fucking A, man.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Damn.
Mossad agent number 1. Robert
She was
Maxwell.
Ukrainian.
I am not suicidal. Yeah, dude, that's sketchy fucking. He's Jewish too, right? Like he ties into this whole thing with Trump because Trump is revered, I think, as the Moshiach. I think he is the new King Cyrus. And if I don't know, I don't know if he's running cover for somebody or if it's actually him. Like I said, I don't even know if it's Trump, like the actual Trump. Could it just be some guy with a skin mask on? At this point, I wouldn't be surprised
Yeah,
at that either.
y'all seen the Kanye West famous that music video?
No,
There's like look up that music video. It's super creepy. There's literally no way to tell what's.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. I
Yeah,
was going to say, let's not forget what the United States is. It's the land of opportunity. It doesn't tell you whether the land of opportunity determines whether you do good or bad. It's just the land of opportunity through hard work and determination. If you have a hard work and determination to do anything, you can do good or bad, and that's the land of opportunity. So we can't
it's your
forget that, right?
intention. Yeah, and that's
Exactly.
also like with a lot of this, a whole lot of this knowledge that's being used. It's about the intention of using it, and these people do not have good intentions when they're using it.
That's why you have a lot of misinformation out there because they have the
Absolutely.
opportunity to mislead the people with if whoever has the most money to spend to get that message out there is whoever wins. If you could say something 1,000 times, but if somebody says it 1,000,000 times, they're going to hear. Just imagine how many ears listen to that 1,000,000 times. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Talking about disinformation, you almost they're tagging the, I guess, what the list as disinformation now, right alongside the dossier. Is that what they're classifying it as? Sorry to bring it back to that,
No,
but
you're good.
is that what they're doing? They're putting exhibit, dossier here, and then the list right next to it. Is that where we're gonna see it in the presidential historical library? No, just kidding.
wouldn't surprise me. How Orwellian is that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Gaslighting, double think. I mean, it's just a joke.
Rewriting history right in front of us. Yeah.
It's got to be
Yeah,
the
but
most demoralizing event of the entire presidency thus far. And there's been a lot of demoralizing events. So I think it's building up to something. They
it
want
hasn't
something to
even been a
crack.
year yet.
Right, right. But I think there's something on the schedule coming up soon because it seems like this is unsustainable, the direction it's going.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, I agree, man. I don't know. Who knows what's coming down the line, but the whole like Trump bringing back the World's Fair at the end of Doge for the 250th celebration could be something with that. I perhaps I don't know if y'all have seen this. Our congressman actually from our very district has helped introduce a bill to get Trump in for a third term. I don't know if y'all have seen that. So that might rear its head at some point in a couple years.
Well, he's nominated for a Peace Prize now. So,
Wow.
a war criminal nominated him for a Peace Prize.
No doubt. Didn't Obama win the Peace Prize as he was just like bombing Syria? Yeah.
Yep.
Just the same old script. They just reuse the same thing over and over again.
To prepare for peace, you gotta have war.
It's true. I guess that's the Pax Romana. That's the Roman way to look at it. If he's going to be
Yeah.
serious.
Well, that's the whole to get to peace. Yeah. You have to walk through suffering. It gets worse before it gets better.
That's at least they want what they want us to believe, and that's the hardest thing is for them to push that because a lot of people are starting to push back from it, but it's still not enough to be pushed back right now.
Yeah.
I think the not to bring this up and steer the conversation, but I think this is what the disclosure is kind of waiting backstage in case stuff really goes awry and the people start revolting. And let's go back to the list again. I think for a little bit, I think both sides were in agreement about the list, like wanting to know who was on the list. The left because they wanted to see Trump and us, and the conservatives wanted because they wanted to see who on Democrat was on the list. So both wanted the contents of the list. So for once we were a little bit on the same page. And so now you're having this, but I think that if at any point the people start to revolt or get too out of hand or start questioning too much, I think that's when they're gonna cue in who's waiting on the side stage.
Yeah. I agree with that. It's like just another form of bread and circuses to keep you
Yep.
stimulated.
Ever since COVID, it seems like politics is the only form of entertainment. Nobody pays attention to movies anymore. Nobody's paying attention to any of these TV shows. Like most people are into politics as some sort of form of entertainment, which is not good.
That's it. I mean, it's good if you're a podcaster, but
True.
The shows and movies don't have a soul like they used to. You know, you can watch the old school movies, you know, a million times and feel like you're watching something new every time. You watch a movie nowadays, you're like, why in the hell did I waste my time to watch this? Usually you're folding clothes, washing some dishes, or just sitting there trying to do some, you know, editing on the podcast.
I quit trying to edit my podcast, man.
Yeah, I definitely think that it's definitely the Truman Show, for sure.
100%.
I call it the Jerry Springer Show.
Or
Especially
I
on
like that.
social media.
The
I'm
Truman
telling
on
you,
Jerry.
I
Up
grew
the shooting.
I grew up
know?
on Jerry Springer, bro. I tell you, man, everything
I
about,
know.
you know, online social media, podcasts, X Spaces, Clubhouse, all that to me is nothing but, you know, Jerry Springer show. You will find the right people to have serious conversations with, and then you'll find the right people that you need for entertainment.
So
Yeah.
if we go back to the assassination attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania, have the events of the last year convinced you one way or the other if it was a faked event or a real event?
Oh, that's a great question.
That shit was AstroTurf. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
Man, that was just too good to be sitting here for one side or another. Like you can't have two opposite sides of it. You know what I mean? That was just way too perfect. Like I know you've done something in your life, and you was like, "There's no way that shit would ever happen again."
Yeah, no way. The guy was in a BlackRock commercial. That's all you need to know right there. Literally the alleged shooter.
Things, yeah,
with the giant
everything
multinational
don't
company.
line up like that just perfect. Like that was just too lined up too perfect. Like when you start putting the puzzle pieces together, you're like, man, this doesn't make sense. Like I know what piece am I messing up that doesn't tell me the right story.
There's so many pieces and none of them fit together.
Yeah, but have y'all
Yeah,
seen the video of the pastor like prophesying it in like April? We covered that when we did our episode on it.
No. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, John, I don't know how fast you could pull that up. But literally like 3 or 4 weeks. No, 3 or 4 months before it happened. I think it was in like April of last year. This random bald guy gets on the internet and he says that he had a dream that Trump beforehand that Trump was going to get shot in the ear, and it just blew up. Yeah, can you send this to them, John?
Yeah, he's about to.
Yeah, our producer guys got it right here. This is
Yeah, I
wild.
just pulled it up too.
So like the only options here that either one, this guy is an actual prophet, 2, he's part of the deep state and this is planned, or 3, they can do like George Orwell type stuff and make stuff look like it's from the past.
Or a dream giant put it in his ear.
Bingo. I don't know, man. I mean, if they're all ancient alien cargo cults, and I guess they're speaking to people and moving bullets out of the way, why not? You know, why not flex on everybody and be like, you'll never be able to figure this shit out?
To Jules' point, didn't they have like an announcement how like they had certain corporations fighting for advertisements to be inserted in people's sleep through your phone? Would this be somewhat related to that? If you can insert
That's
advertisements into people's sleep?
Well, haven't
Could
they
you
made a
do
whole
that?
movie about that? Inception?
yeah.
They could probably really do that.
True that. True that.
Oh, here we go.
I saw Trump, and I saw a red wave coming out of Michigan, and then I saw Oklahoma, and there was embers of people, and they were all on these. They had torches all throughout Oklahoma, and they were raising up
This guy
these torches
glows.
that looked like fire, and they were bringing forth a new patriotism upon the nation. and it was coming, it was being birthed, and it just kept spreading like fire all throughout America, all throughout. And I saw Trump rising up, and then I saw an attempt on his life. This bullet flew by his ear, and it came so close to his head that it busted his eardrum. And I saw he fell to his knees during this time frame, and he started worshiping the Lord. He got radically born again during this time frame. I'm talking, people say he's saved now, but he becomes really on fire for Jesus, for what I saw coming. And then
Yeah,
I
that's
saw
the
people
important part.
interceding when I saw him winning the presidency through great. The Lord showed me it would go clear into the summer. Great persecution would come on him through the judges and through the law and all these people trying to sue him and all this stuff. But there would be a stop to it, and there things would start to break free come toward the fall. And then I saw him winning the election through the Patriots coming out and voting. And then there will be a great economy crash. Yeah. I saw they had a great economy plan, a crash. Yeah. Worse than the Great Depression. And the Lord warned me about this. It would be a great dark time. But I saw paddles coming upon America's soil, like a shocking of the soil. And I saw Donald Trump praying in the office of the Oval Office, and he was weeping before the Lord with his hands on his head like this, but he was weeping. And there was ministers and people. I don't know if they were senators or Congress people or whatever. I just saw them pacing and back and forth inside of the White House. What is the White House, but it's the Oval Office. Yeah. And they were interceding all inside there, and I could feel the presence of the Lord so strong on this. And then I could see that darkness that was the heaviness upon America with the financial crisis of what I saw coming. It started to lift above the trees, and I saw the blue and the things coming back out, and the green times and the good times coming back again. But the Lord said it would be forth a time of a season of a shaking, and it would be a shaking to awaken. And in this, this would basically that he was not done with America. There would be a great revival come, and it's not all doom and gloom. That's what he said. The sky's not falling. It's just a time of it's like people.
Well, I'll tell you what, he gets style points if anything.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's a little sweet. Seem to be. Like I said, definitely glows.
They all seem to be that way, you know?
Yeah.
Where was he out of? Where was that guy from? Or what church also?
I don't know. No idea, but definitely Protestant.
No, that was charismatic. That was charismatic prophesying. They've got a certain style and a cadence to how they do their dream interpretations and all the rest of that stuff. That was definitely charismatic.
You're right.
Pretty wild though that was 4 months beforehand.
Yeah.
It was dead on.
It is. That's what makes you.
Did he come on the show on 314, or did he have the dream on 314?
The video I saw was like posted in April. So like on the YouTube upload date, it was like April something, 2024. So that's what makes it so scary. So if that is complete BS, which it probably is, that proves though that they can make something look like it was uploaded from the past. So it's just hard to trust anything. I just
The reason I say is because it's 314 or March 14th, which is Pi.
Yeah, Pi Day.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Wait, what's 3.1? Is it 2-4 afterwards?
It's very symbolic with the whole, golden ratio.
Yeah, golden age.
Yeah.
Hey, somebody in the comments said your favorite uncle. He said this is in Detroit, and I looked it up. That's pretty strange right there.
Yep. They carry that around with them wherever they get kicked out of. So they put that up in all sorts of different places. If the state tries to put up a Ten Commandment statue, they sue because of religious freedom to put their statue of Baphomet with two children right next to the Ten Commandments.
It almost looks like a caduceus in the middle of him there too.
Yeah, that's part of it. Caduceus
Yeah, I was
is
gonna
right
say
smack dab in the middle.
it
That's
is.
the
It
rod.
represents sexual energy. As you see, it's coming up from his phallus. So
The original has boobies. This one doesn't have boobies for
I
some
was
reason. It's supposed to be both. Of them.
yeah. Huh.
Only on one side it has a boob.
It's a fake
By the way.
Baphomet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fake.
Boo!
No.
We couldn't even get the replication right.
Right.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I want
Patriarchal
authenticity
Baphomet.
for my giant satanic statues.
I want my titties on my Baphomet, dude.
Oh, that's good.
We need better psyops, guys.
So in
Well,
Tennessee,
Lucian Graves. Lucian Graves has a Process Church of the Final Judgment tattoo on his arm, and he also owns the Process Church website. So, and he's supposed to be the leader of Satanism. So that's a Lucian Graves operation with that Baphomet that they carry around the country with them.
Yeah, I was gonna say he installed. That was like the first installment, wasn't it? Like that statue. I remember when that happened. So yeah, that would make sense that the Luciferian church is just another branch of the process.
Right.
You know?
And Eliphas Levi didn't put any kids in there.
No, he didn't.
Out of anybody, you'd think Eliphas Levi would be into that sort of thing. He was a
Right.
weirdo.
Well, I mean, he made this to be completely symbolic, right? I'm pretty sure he made it mocking members of some religious organization.
we did.
Well, it has
Nick
all
and
the
I-
elements. Oh,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Go ahead.
It has all the elements of Pan, and Pan worship was really much more profound and deep than just sort of like this satyr that runs around trying to get laid. It has to do with the nature of the universe itself. And so people started using and reusing that Pan symbolism because it was a really potent symbol in ancient Greece. So when it finally turned into this Baphomet character, it sort of encompassed more of these separate, disparate qualities that made up Pan to begin with. So it's got a lot of the same elemental guide stones, I guess.
Yeah, well, you have both animal and human, male and female. So you got the horns and the wings. So there's like a light and dark aspect.
Thank you. Yeah, I was going to bring this up. Nick and I covered this occultist Heinrich Kuhnroth. He is not very well known but yet he was a Paracelsian disciple, meaning that he followed in the Paracelsian thought. But he was very influential to major scientists like Kepler. And so he came up with this emblem, and this is the emblem that Eliphas Levi took the Baphomet from. And Eliphas Levi, in his book, quotes or cites Heinrich Kuhnroth as being interpretation or inspiration for the Baphomet. And when you take the Baphomet name and you apply it to the Atabash cipher, you get the inversion of Sophia. And Sophia means wisdom, right?
Wisdom,
so it's the dualism, right? And this emblem right here is the epitome of dualism. So you have one side, the very top, being the sun or the male, and then the other side you have the female, which is the moon. If you look at the arms, one is more masculine and the other one is more feminine. You have the salve and I always get that Koluga one wrong. Not
Coagula.
Coagula.
Salve and coagula.
And so when you look at the chest, you see an enhanced female, breast. And then when you look at the male version, you see a more muscular pectoralis. And then you see almost like a cut into the waist, whereas on the male side, you don't. So it is a perfect symbolism of male and female, the dualism, which is one of the most important, concepts of alchemy. You have the alchemical marriage. And then it
Absolutely.
goes into the sphere, for alchemy and what have you. But I believe the way that it was intended was Baphomet and Sophia, and then something like this was supposed to be the alchemical marriage of merging, all of the dualism to get, the Philosopher's Stone. Or at least that's what I read.
Exactly. And that's,
But
again, that's part of that pan mythos is like he is both nature and he is civilized. He is both, he's all the dualities in one thing. So
I see
that really carries on that
Ionis
tradition.
on there. I see Yam on
Mhm.
there.
You see Mercury at the top with a raven.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, and this guy, like I said, he was very influential to Kepler, and I believe many, many other scientists that went on to be highly recognized in our now scientific community.
Oh, you
Um,
see EIO on there too. What do you know?
mhm.
That's almost a periodic table of elements
Yeah.
with it a different style.
Yeah, because you see the triangle in the middle with the square, and then it's surrounded with a circle.
Which is the concept of alchemy, is
Uh huh.
squaring the circle by
Absolutely.
use of a triangle.
All engulfed by the eternal flame.
Hmm hmm And you'll see that also the concept of threes by using, I think it's Greek, Hebrew, and Latin of written word.
Yeah, the number 3 letters, they're always very important in a lot of ancient history,
Mhm.
all the way back to the
Mm-hmm.
Sumerians, going back to
Oh yeah.
Anu.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah. I gotta get you on, dude. We got a lot to talk about.
Oh, I'm ready. I'm
Oh
always
yeah.
ready. I'm actually doing a PowerPoint presentation
Well,
now,
bring
putting
it on the
together.
show sometime, dude, and we'll get into it because me and you have been talking for a while. So
If you notice, though, there's 4 different textures in each one of the quadrants around the central figure, right?
Yes,
you're
yes,
right.
You
yes.
get these
Yeah,
different kind of emanations of energy.
that kind of represents like what the 4 elements, the 4 directions: hot, wet, dry,
Hmm
hot, cold, dry, wet, right?
Yep.
Um,
hmm Which was a concept first kind of started by, what was his name, Nick, that we did? Um, Started with an E. He
That's an
was,
eyeball, Nick. That's an eyeball.
oh wow, and is that iris or whatever? Is that a serpent?
It's the clouds up here. That's the lens on top. This
Oh,
is
I
the
thought you were
optic
talking
nerve.
about the
mm,
the the little globe on the bottom being the eyeball, or like being. Oh, I see it
Yeah,
now.
it is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
so
that's
it's
what
like
I'm
the
saying.
optic
Yeah,
nerve at the
the
bottom.
innermost. I don't know what you would call that. The aorta no, I don't fucking know.
So at the top, you would have the cornea, right? And then the
Okay.
sclera, the white part, you'd have the cornea, kind of protecting the entrance into the eyeball. You have the suspension of the aqueous humor, which is the first layer of water that is separated between the lens itself, and then as you go into the, I guess, chamber of the eyeball itself, you have the my goodness, I can't forget the name. Um,
Zonules of
aqueous.
Zen.
No. What is it? Chamber again? What is the humor? Aqueous and um. Good God, we
So
did a whole
vitreous.
entire episode on that.
Vitriol.
Vitreous. Thank you. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Vitreous humor. And so you have the two different chambers separated, right, of different humors, different waters, separated by the lens itself. And the lens is then supported by the zonules of Zen, as Headless pointed out, that basically help to dictate whether it contracts or expands.
Right.
And then it sits upon the shell-like type, almost like a flower looking like thing that supports the actual lens itself, and then
Would you
you
say
go
like a
into
kind of like a
the
lotus flower, maybe?
yes,
Yeah.
almost like a shell. So it's kind of like, if you've ever seen the Aphrodite painting, that she's sitting upon a shell. it would be very similar to that. And as you migrate all the way down past the vitreous humor, then you get to the retina, which has all of your rods and cones that interpret the electromagnetic spectrum. They feed it into the back part of your optic nerve, and then basically that
Isn't there a
information.
dent? Isn't there a dent on the very back of your eye where the
Mhm,
optic nerve
mhm,
connects?
mhm,
That almost looks like that dent right there.
mhm. Yep. It's a point that a message gets transmitted into an electrical message. Electromagnetic gets converted into electrical. No.
I have to save this image.
Yeah, dude.
That's
It's.
fine.
I mean, like
Definitely have to
that's the
look into Heinrich Kuhnroth. He was very, very, very interesting um, of a Paracelsian disciple.
that's the essence of alchemy, though, is just
Mhm.
to put it in plain sight until the people who have eyes to see it can see it. You know.
Just the eyes.
So, yeah.
So
Nick, were you going to say something? Sorry. I think you were going to try to say something earlier.
we can wrap it up and move it on. It's up to you.
Yeah. If I don't know if anybody has any other things they want to talk about, discuss, or bring
I
up.
found the image.
Did you? Good.
I did. Listen.
He's a very interesting character to look into.
Yes.
So much comes from him.
Well,
Yeah, Nick. Whenever I first had Nick on the show, that's actually the first thing we talked about was Kunrith. So
Mhm.
full circle, Nick.
Yeah, it's bugged out.
on my show last week, we were talking about Robert Flood's image where he's trying to map out the brain. And it was scary how accurate he was to knowing what a lot of these areas were before there was any way of testing for it. So he had already pretty much mapped out this thing without any, EEGs or anything. And he's putting that on this, print. And it's like, how could he know this stuff? But apparently, yep. There's that back of the iris.
Yep. Very good. So yeah, if anybody else anything else they wanna discuss or anything, have any questions? If not, I guess we can wrap it up here and then kind of just everybody plug themselves one last time. We'll let Headless kick it off.
All right. You can find me on X and on YouTube, the Headless Giant Podcast. And if you have any strange paranormal stories, email them to me at theheadlessgiantpodcast@gmail.com. Thank you.
Thank you, Headless. Jules?
Yeah, guys. At Gray Pilled Pod on Twitter. Again, on Rumble, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. I'm on Patreon, doing a lot of cool things over there. You join, you get a free sticker pack right off the bat. So come over there. We do an esoteric book review every Saturday morning. Twin Peaks watch parties. Elohim etymologies get dropped there first for about a week before we drop them. So there's a lot of cool perks over there, as well as if you join the locals, all the Patreon streams are posted there, and they're exclusive, just to Patreon only. They don't ever get released to the public. So, and I'm about to start having guests on for some guest episodes to do. So besides that, yeah, I'm going live in, I guess, 45 minutes to an hour. Sunday Chaos, guys. Me, Conspiracy Extremist, Nate from Reality Czars, Not Nice Guy, Season of the Rat, and tonight we have our guest on from Tower Gang, Toad, and we love Toad, so or what used to be Tower Gang, whatever. So y'all come hang out.
Very cool. Very cool. Y'all check out Jules and his live show tonight. Tara?
Just want to say thank you again for letting me be here. Everything that you want to find on me, rebirthoftheword.com. Everything that you want to know about me is on there. If you like history, mythology, religion, God, conspiracy theories, all kinds of stuff. You'll find it on my website.
Thank you. And Veritas
Awesome.
Road, thank you for joining us. So go ahead and let us know how we can follow you
Yeah.
guys.
Thank you so much for having us. This is our first time we were on somebody else's show. So it
Oh,
was a lot
dude,
of fun.
I gotta get y'all on my show then.
Heck yeah, man.
I gotta help break that cherry in.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
Well, we're on Twitter and Instagram and X, excuse me. Sorry,
follow
Elon.
y'all.
And YouTube, The Veritas Road. We try to stream every 2 weeks. We do a little thing on Tuesdays as well.
Yep.
We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and we just appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, guys, thanks. It's been great.
Thank you. Thank you for contributing. That was a lot of, I've always wondered about that, Tennessee area, especially with everything that's going on. You hear a lot of memories from Tennessee, but you don't ever have people from Tennessee. So I was very, very grateful to hear from that. And Nick, I don't know if you have anything to plug. I will plug the occultresearchinstitute.org. We have a lot of rejects that contribute literarily in that form of content. So if you are wanting to read, please check us out on occultresearchinstitute.org. And with that, thank you to the chat, thank you to the rejects, and thank you to Veritas Road. Very much enjoy the conversation, and everybody have an amazing week. Thank you.